Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to install the dampeners on the X and the Y, and then I'll leave it up to you to judge if it's worth it or not, if it's quiet or not. I'll do a little decibel test. Here's my basement with nothing on. I'll let it go for about 10 seconds. This is the sound of my printer all heated up with no mods, except the fan. This is of the X with no dampener. This is the Y with no dampener. Okay, to install the dampener on the Y, you are going to need the Allen keys, or whatever they call them, that are pointed towards me or towards the camera. You're going to need the big one to undo the belt tensioner, and the other smaller one to get the motor off the mount. Okay? And what I'm going to do first is loosen the belt. To loosen the belt is fairly simple, and for those electrical gurus, I already unplugged it from the wall and I unplugged it from the printer. Okay, I got my big Allen key ready. I'm going to loosen the belt. Very simple. Put your Allen key in and you loosen it. You shouldn't really have to loosen it that much, because I think once it did that, moves, that's all she's going to get. Okay, I'm at the motor. Now we're going to take our Allen key and undo the 4 screws, but you could also try and get the belt off first. That's why we undid the belt tensioner on the other side. Alright. Now let me explain a little something that you probably already know. Alright, here we go. Here's the motor. Okay, you just saw me unscrew it. Here's the dampener. Now if you look closely, these are small holes on each side here, and on this side, bigger holes. Bigger holes will go flat to the motor. Okay, the smaller holes have threads that would connect to the mount over here. Okay, so fatter holes to the motor, and I'm going to screw those in. Those take 2 of your screws. I'll be right back. Okay, that's how it should look after you put your 2 screws into the fatter holes that lay flat on the motor. Okay, also you're going to have to take off this piece here also, because you're going to have to adjust where your belt sits. Okay, so you can either take it off now or take it off when you put it back on the bracket. But if you want, I can show you me taking it off, which ain't a big deal. All you do is take the same one you just screwed those screws in with. You find the holes and you unscrew them. And I'll be back with this piece off. Okay, here is the motor with that off. Okay, so now what we do is we put this back in like so. Make sure the wires are whatever way they're supposed to be. Okay, let me check mine. Okay, they go in facing this way like so. Okay, so they go in here. You line up the holes, obviously, from here to there, and from here to there, depending on whichever way you put your dampener on. I'll be back after I screw these in. Alright, as you can see, I got the 2 screws in. Okay, now it's all about putting this piece back on. Okay, this piece just slips right back on. What there is there's 2 grub screws, right? What you should always try and do is, since there's no indent, there's 2 grub screws, there's no indent on the inside, right? But on the shaft, there's a flat part, okay? So always try and make 1 grub screw go to the flat part. Alright. But before we can tighten that, what you're going to have to see is where the belt should go, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that and that is lined up perfectly straight. Tighten this up and then put the belt back on. And I'll be right back after I do that. Okay, there you go. Got the motor back on, the dampener on, the belt on, and I tighten the grub screws. What's next is to tighten the belt tensioner. Alright, we're back to our fatter one, right? What you're going to do is take another kind of strong one. Let me get my mic out of the way. You want to put it through the side and pull back, and as you pull back, you tighten up your screws. Alright, to do the X, we're going to need our dampener. We're going to need our small Allen key thing to get all these off, okay? We're also going to have to loosen this belt also. We're going to need one of these, okay, to get these off. And if you did the mod I did the other day, the Fang mod, you're going to need 2 of the extra screws that came from this, okay? So without further ado, I am going to undo the belt tensioner. I'll be right back to do that. Alright, here we go. Time to remove all these screws. Now these 4 outer screws are holding it to the other mounts. These 2 inner screws are holding the switch, okay? So be careful when you undo those. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. I'm not really caring about money or anything for the most part. I just want to know, you know, people enjoy my videos and watch them. Anything else can come down the line later. Alright, see, there it is. Alright, now to take these off. You could also take the belt off now if you so choose. Okay. Alright. Now I said you're going to need one of these. Let me see which one it was. Never mind. I think I'm putting it, no, actually 3/16. 3/16 will get it done, and since I don't have the other piece, I use these. those off. Now the motor mount should come right out. Now the wires were facing down. And probably the same thing, you're probably going to have to undo this also. Let me do that now. Jeez. Down a little bit. Move this. You don't have to take it all the way off. Alright. Alright, it's slippery and moving. Alright. So now, like I said, the fatter holes go on the motor. The smaller holes would go on the bracket. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to come back. Now, to find screws that go from this to the motor, when we did our fang mount, there was extra screws, and in those extra screws there were smaller screws, because these ones are way too big to go into the motor and into this and hold it nice and tight. Okay, so I'm using 2 of my leftover screws from my fang mod. And when I come back, I'll have my 2 small screws into the motor. Remember, fatter circles on the motor, smaller ones are for threads. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I got the 2 screws in. Now I'm ready to put it back on. The wires were facing down. This would go through here like so. Now put the belt on. Now what you're going to do is these go into the smaller holes, which would be here and here for me. Come on, find the hole. Find the hole. There you go. Don't put it all the way in just yet until you're able to get the other one in also. Alright, it's good and tight. Now we just put the bracket back on. Make sure this is facing that way, okay? Because this is the end stop, which makes your printer stop when it hits it. So you use the 4 screws that you took, well actually only 2 now, because only one can go here and one can go here. Alright, that's all good. Now I just got to tighten the tensioner. Pull this back. Alright, now if you did all that right, you got your dampener here. You got your dampener here. Here's my x-axis with the dampeners. Here's my Y with the dampeners. Well, it's all done. As you can see, I'm printing in the background. At the end of this little clip here, I'm going to show you a Benchy before I did any upgrades, a Benchy with the Fang mod, and then a Benchy with the Fang mod and the Dampeners.